What is going on, everyone? I hope you're doing well. My name is Matt, and this is Made with Matt. And today we're going to be designing a travel app UI. And then in the later videos of this series, we'll be converting it to React Native through code. So if you haven't already, click the subscribe button down below to get more content like this and learn a ton more about app design and UI. So let's jump into it. As you can see, this is a pretty simple travel app. We've got Discover here. This is going to be scrollable. We have a couple different categories we could click, then activities here. This will also be scrollable, and then Learn More, which has, for example, snorkeling in Mexico and some other things here. And then a simple bottom tab navigator. And once you click on one of these, it brings you to this page where there's just more of a description, price, rating, duration, and you could book it and like it. So this is what it looks like on an actual phone. And that's what it's eventually going to look like when we convert it to React Native. So I just opened a new Figma project. You could do the same to follow along, but I'm going to include the final one in the description below. So to get started, click F to get a frame and click iPhone 11 or X, and we'll rename this to Home. And one thing I'm going to do right away is I'm going to import all the images and icons that we need just for simplicity. So I have the final version down below. So I'm just going to copy and paste those into here. And like I said, you could find this in the description below. So there we go. Pretty good. And right away, I'll start with the home page, changing the background color. So the background color will make it this white, which is a bit of an off-white, and we'll bring the header in, or the menu item in this case. We'll put it at 40 and 20. And by the way, to get these red lines, I'm holding down the Option key on Mac. Honestly, I'm not sure what it is on PC, but probably something near the Control key. Now we'll bring in the picture. Now this is really simple. Just drag it in at 30 as well, and then make sure they're both aligned by clicking one, holding Shift, and clicking the other, and then clicking this item right here, which is Align Vertical Centers. So we do that, perfect. And now it's aligned. Let's just make sure. So now it's at 42 and 40. So let's bring it up by 2. There we go. Now that we've got the header done, we're going to need to do the Discover section. And what I'll do is I'll import the actual picture. These are just going to be our guides to go through it. As you can see, this is just a PNG. I can't actually click through, but it'll be good just to tell if we're on the right track. So now we'll do this section here, Discover. So let's write it out, Discover. And we'll give this a text of Leto, I think that's how you pronounce it, with bold and size of, say, 32. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Now let's do 20 from the top here, and always 20 on the left. I find that's what looks best. Now these items over here, so we'll do them separately. So let's give them 16. I feel like that's fair. Yeah. They're also going to be bold, and we're going to need this orange here, which is F35D38. So let's close this, and now we can copy it. Actually, let's make sure. So it should be 20 from the top and 20 from the left. Cool. Copy and paste that. And here I'll write destinations. Change the fill to something like this. You know what? I'm just going to click this icon here and go get it. So this is going to be that. There we go. Cool. Copy and paste that. And by the way, to shift it over like that without actually dragging, I'm holding Shift and then the arrow keys so that it moves by 10 pixels every time instead of just one. But another way of doing this, if you're interested, hold down the Option key, and then you see these two cursors appear. Now drag on this one to the right, and it copies it over, which is really cool. So this one's going to be experiences. Now let's hold Shift, click on all of them, and we'll distribute horizontal spacing. Perfect. It's going to be something like 30. Yep. And that's exactly what we want. Awesome. Next step is where it gets a bit more interesting. So we've got these pictures and then some text on the pictures. So I already sized the pictures properly for this. But if they weren't, I mean, you just find the size that you think works best and you crop them down. That's what I did. So I want it like that. And then let's give it 20. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Cool. And now we need to add the text on it. So I'm going to click T for text and type it out. So, kayaking in the Tofino Sea. Cool. And I'm just going to make it white right away, or off-white there. And what else? Let's see. Let's make it a bit bigger. Let's say 18 or 24. Let's say 24. Let's try that. Looks a bit too big. I'm going to go back to 18. Okay. Now I'm going to put it at a distance of 10 from the left. 10, and then I'm going to make this smaller so that this is also a 10, or at least close enough. Cool. And now let me just bring this up, and I'll get the icon in here for the pin. And I don't think I've included that one, so I'll include it. But if you don't have an icon, you could always go plugins, Iconify, which you'd have to download from the Figma. I'm not sure what it's called, I guess the marketplace. But then you look up pin, and where is it? Or actually, let's try location. Now I'm going to put this one a distance from 5 from the text. And this one's also going to be the white that we had before, kind of the off-white. And let's put one more text here to say Canada. Shout out Canada. Just like that. Put this as 10. Might be too small. Let's see. Yeah, let's give it 14. Nope, 12. You know what? I like 10. I'm going to go back to 10. And distance of 5 to give it a bit of margin. Looks good. Now last thing, make sure it's is 15 from the bottom good? I think so. Let me just compare with the other one. Yeah, 15's good. Okay, cool. So now we've done one and we need to do the second one. We could just copy paste it over, but what we could do before, copy everything and click Command G. Now what Command G is going to do, if you look over here, it groups it all together into a component. Now, if you move it, it's one component and you don't have to remove every little item. And now what's cool is you could copy paste it, move it to the right, and there you go. Move it to 20. And now all we have to do is just change the items within it, which is pretty simple. So here, instead of kayak, we'll go get this one. And I'll drag it in here. Just like that. Bring it over, center it. Make sure it's perfectly centered. Cool. And I'm gonna delete the kayak one. Actually, let me bring it in. Oops. There we go. Okay, and delete kayak. Now with canyon, once again, 20 on the edges. And change the text to hiking the Grand Canyon. Cool. Set this one to USA. Boom. And we're done the whole top part. Next one is activities. So activities has a scrollable area here, a scrollable list with the different activities you could do or that you can search for. So let's go ahead with that. I click T for text, type out activities. We'll set this one at 24, bold, perfect, and bring it 20 from the left, 30 from the top. Amazing. And now we'll get started with these little squares. So I have them all here. And like I said, you could find this in the description below. So you don't have to go find them yourself. So what we'll do is we'll drag them in. And I'm gonna set them, that's perfect. That's exactly where I wanted, 20 from the top and 20 from the left. And now we're gonna have to add some text under. So let's add this text. So I'm gonna type it all lowercase. And I know it's all uppercase, but I'll show you what you could do with Figma. You go here, little 3 dots under text, and then you convert it lettercase to uppercase. Boom. So I'm gonna give it a different color here. I like that one. E5, E5, E5. Might be a bit too light, but let's try it out for now. And then give this a size of 14, I'd say. Maybe even smaller. But for now, that looks good. I think we might have to make it smaller after, but all good. And let's move this to 20 again to make sure it's properly done. And let's give it a spacing of 5 from the top. Cool. Now we can group these together again. Command G, or I think there's a way to do it like this, which I can't find right now, but Command G. Now we'll copy and paste it, and we'll do it again. And basically every time we do it, we're just gonna make sure that we're a distance of 20 from the one on the left. So I'll just do these quickly and speed it up. So I've got them all in, and one thing I did change is I set the font size to 10 instead of what we had before, which I think was 14, just to make it fit in a bit nicer. So now we're gonna go to the Learn More section, which is one of the last sections. We'll hold the Option key to copy activities and drag it down to 30, 20 from the left and 30 from the top. Cool. And then just change this to Learn More. Nice. And then what we can do is let's go copy or drag it over instead of copying it. Drag this over, make sure it's 20 from the top, 20 from the left. And actually, before we do that, let's bring it out here. We need to add some text to it. So let's make this 20 border radius to make it look good. And let's go get some text. I'm just going to copy the text we had here for simplicity to make it easier to copy in. So now I need to bring this all the way to the top so that we can actually see it, so it comes in front of the picture. And this one I think was snorkeling in Mexico. Nice. We'll put that 10 from the left, and what could we do from the bottom? We could do 10. I think 15 is nicer. Yeah, do 15 from the bottom. Or actually 20 might be even better. Yeah, there we go. It looks good. So that's one. Let's group that together and drag it in. So we want 20 from the top and 20 from the left. Cool. Now we're gonna do the same thing for this one. And this one, we'll give it 20. Copy this text, paste it here, and we need to bring it up so it appears in front of it. This one, let's say surfing in California. Okay, 10 and 20. Group it together. Oop. Throw it in. 20, 19, 20. Perfect. And this one you could do it as well. This is a third one that you could throw in. It doesn't actually fit in the design, but I think I'll include it in the code, and I'll give it something like Australian Outback or something like that. But let's go down here, and these are done. So the Learn More section is good to go. Now what's left is this bottom tab navigator. So it's super simple to do that one. We're gonna click R for rectangle, drag it across. Now make sure it spans the entire width. Good. Give it a height of 52 because that's what I believe the default height is for a tab navigator in React Native. And then here, give it 15. Whoops. So that's a common mistake. Don't give it 15. Click these independent corners, the button here. And for the top and right ones, we're going to give it 15. And then the other ones, we give them 0. So we get the rounded corners only at the top. So the fill here is going to be the same white that we had before. And just to give it a bit of dimension here, let's give it some drop shadow. So give it 10 blur with -2. So you could see here, it looks like it's elevated a bit. Awesome. So now we just need to throw in the icons, super easy, copy them over. And let's center them. I think this is center. Well, we could center them better after. Move this one to the left, move this one to the right, and then put this one somewhere in the center. But first thing I'll do is space them horizontally properly, distribute horizontal spacing. And what that does is now if I click this one, hold down Option, 87 and almost 87. So it's good enough. What I'm going to do now to make sure they're centered is I'm going to click all of them, holding Shift to do that. Command G to group them together, and now I could click center. Perfect. And to change the colors of each one of these, what I did is I double clicked it to get the actual icon and change the fill like that. So I put it to orange. And you could find all the colors in the Figma file that I'm linking down below. I put the color palette in there. Page 1 is basically done. I just noticed here that we just need to put 20 edges. Whoops, that's way too much. 5. Let's do 10. There we go. Just need to do 10 on top here, and now we're actually done. The home page looks exactly the same, looks really good. So let's move to the details page. So click F to get the iPhone 11 Pro. Drag it down below here. And what we'll start with, we could start with this blank canvas, and we'll just drag in this picture here. So that picture, perfect. Oh, we do need to resize it actually. Let's resize it so it fits in nicely. Okay. First thing I'll do is I'll put this little icon, the back icon. So I don't think I've included that one as well. I'll make sure to include it, but otherwise, plugins, Iconify, and this is chevron left. That's what it's called. And I'll take this one. Looks pretty good. Cool. Drag that in. Let's put it at 40 from the top and 20 from the left. Make sure it's white, or actually let's do the off-white that we have. And let's put it as a size of 24. Whoops. So sometimes if you want to keep the aspect ratio, click this button here, constrain proportions. And now when I do 24, it's going to change this one as well. So it makes it look much better. Just going to make sure. Okay, perfect. 20 and 40. Awesome. So now before writing the text, I'm going to draw this rectangle on it. And the rectangle is what's going to be this section here. So I'll just make it as close as I can to the actual design. Change the background color and set the independent top corner radiuses to 20. Now, what I'll do next is this text. So hiking the Grand Canyon. Now this is going to be a fill of white again, the off-white. And I'll put it a size of 32 so it's really big and you can see it. 20 from the left, and this should be 20 from the right as well, or close enough. Cool. Now underneath it, I'll need that pin icon again. So I'll go get it. And I actually need, this one, because I need USA in there to get the location. So let me throw that in. And just gonna increase the size. This I think could stay the same size, but this needs to go up a bit, 14. Yeah, that already looks a bit better. I think it might actually even be bigger over here. Yeah, I'm gonna give it, say 16. Yeah, that looks better. So let's just center this like that. And let me make sure it's a distance of 5. Amazing. And from the top, it should also be 5. 5. Good. Now, gonna holding Shift and then clicking all of them. And I want to make sure the distance from the bottom is 20. Perfect. That's exactly how I like it. So now, title is done. We can move on to this heart icon. So it's really simple. Click click O for circle, hold down Shift so that it maintains the correct ratio as it opens up. And let's put it to 64. 40 from the right. And just make sure it's centered here, which I think it should lock in. Yeah, so it locks in. Cool. Change the fill back to our off-white. And let's add an effect right away. Blur of 10. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I'll give it 15% instead of 25. Cool. And now we'll drag in the heart icon. So I'll go get the heart icon from here. I'll copy paste it in. Center it, and we'll give it the orange color. Look at that, easy. Okay, now description section. So T, description, give this 24, 20 from the top, or sorry, let's give it 30 from the top and then 20 from the left. Now we need some text in here. Let me just get the right colors and stuff first. And then I'll copy it in. So let's do that with size of 16. And I don't want bold, I want regular. So I'll put that 20, and then it should be 20 as well. Okay, and I'm just gonna go copy it from the actual design, so I don't have to retype it. Cool. Now, first things first, let's resize this so that it's also 20 from the right. Looks good, looks good. Okay. So we're almost done, guys. Now we have this section here with the extra info and then the book now button. So I'm just gonna bring it closer. Okay, so T, price, and once again, we could go here, 3 little dots, lettercase to uppercase. And we want the fill to be the same as this color here or a bit lighter. I think it looks better like this. It's just a bit lighter than that one. Now let's make the size 10 or 12, a bit bigger. Bring it up here, 20 from the top, should be 20 from the left. This is going to be bold. Cool. Now it is a bit lighter than that, but I mean, I have all the colors in the Figma file that I included down below, so just check those out. This one is the gray color. So let's do another text. So T, this one's going to be $350 and then /person. And I don't want this to be all uppercase, so I'll do that. Good. Oh, I had caps lock on, my bad. Now caps lock is off. So there we go. Okay, now this is going to be orange. And this one is going to be slightly smaller, so I'll give it a size of 10. And we'll make it gray, so light gray. Looks good. Awesome. Now let's make sure this is 5 from the top, and once again 20 from the left. It is, it does look too small though. So I'm going to increase, oh yeah, that's why it's 12. I'm going to increase this size to 18, what about 24? This one's going to increase just a bit. Give it to 12. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to click this one, hold shift, click price, click Command G to group them together. And now I can move them all together, which is nice. But now what I'm going to do is I'll hold down the Option key and copy it to the right. So now this one's going to be rating, and it's going to be 4.5 on 5. And I'll do the same thing. I'll hold Option, copy, hold down Option, copy it over. And this one's going to be duration, 3 hours. Cool, so now we need to properly center it. And as you can see here, It's 20 on the left and then 20 on the right. So I'm just gonna drag this one over so that it is 20 on the right. And now I'm gonna hold down Shift, click all of them, and horizontally space them. There we go. And now they get perfectly horizontally spaced. So I don't have to go in and make sure that they're all the same distance from each other. Cool. So now the Book Now button, which is the last item that we need to do. So I'm going to draw out a big rectangle of about the same size, say 51, let's put it at 52. And I want it to be 20 from each side. 26, 20. Good. Now this is going to be a fill of orange and border radius of 20. That's too much. Let's try 15. Still too much, so let's do 10. That looks good. So 10, and then click T to add text and write Book Now. Now let's make sure this is not all uppercase. Good. Center this. And now let's get the fill to be that white, the off-white. Change the size to 18 so it doesn't pop out as much. 18. Hold down Shift, clicking the rectangle so I could center it again. So there you have it. We have our home page and we have our details page. And in the next video, we're going to start building out the actual React Native implementation of these pages so that you could have this as code. And when you click on one of these, it opens up the details with them, and then you could click Book Now and go back and all that cool stuff. So if you haven't already, click the subscribe button to see more and to stay up to date with this series to see how we convert this from Figma to React Native. And once again, I'm Matt. This is Made with Matt, and I hope you have a great day.